All right. Well, that of course was General VK Singh, who was of course speaking to my colleague Rakesh Singh. General VK Singh, of course, MOS Road and Transport, was briefing the media there on some, of course, of the takeaways of the union budget. Let me, without further ado, quickly go across to my guests who are live with us. We are expecting the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, to also address a press conference any moment now. But let me quickly bring in, if I can, Prem Chandra Agarwal, the Finance Minister of Uttarakhand, who is joining us live. Prem Chandra Agarwal जी, मेरी आवाज़ आप तक पहुंच रही है?
जी, बहुत अच्छी आवाज़ आ रही है आपकी।
जी अग्रवाल जी, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका न्यूज़ एक्स पर। आपने सुना होगा अभी जनरल वीके सिंह हमसे बातचीत कर रहे थे, वो उनके हिसाब से गिना रहे थे कि सरकार ने कितना बढ़िया बजट आज पेश किया है। आपके नज़रिए से यूनियन बजट 2023 का मेन टेकअवे क्या है?
देखिए, मैं सबसे पहले माननीय अपने देश के बहुत ही यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को और केंद्रीय वित्त मंत्री आदरणीय निर्मला सीतारमण जी को एक ऐतिहासिक बजट, एक संतुलित बजट, एक बहुआयामी बजट और मैं कहता हूँ एक बहुत ही आकर्षक बजट पेश किया है। उसके लिए मैं उनको बधाई और शुभकामनाएं दे रहा हूँ। आप देखिए कि हर वर्ग को, हर क्षेत्र को इसमें साधने का, उसमें उसका प्रावधान करने का जो इस बजट में प्रयास किया गया है, ये निश्चित रूप से आप के सामने एक ही शब्द में, यदि एक वाक्य में मैं कहूँ कि आज यदि सेंसस बहुत तेजी से उभरा है, बढ़ा है, तो मान के चलिए कि सभी को ये बजट बहुत पसंद आया है और एक आकर्षक बजट ये सीतारमण जी ने पेश किया है। इसमें चाहे गांव की बात करें, किसान की बात करें, महिलाओं की बात करें या फिर पर्यटन क्षेत्र की बात करें, स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र की बात करें या हमारे आदिवासी क्षेत्र की बात करें, यानी किसी भी क्षेत्र की, इसमें उसका बहुत स्पष्ट उल्लेख किया गया है। उसके लिए आने वाले टाइम पे जब पूरे वैश्विक मंदी का दौर चल रहा है, ऐसे में एक आकर्षक बजट पेश करना, हमारी आर्थिक को मजबूत करने वाला बजट पेश करना निश्चित रूप से एक सराहनीय बजट के द्वारा पेश किया गया है। और हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री का जो एक मूल मंत्र है, सबका साथ सबका विकास, वो इस बजट में परिलक्षित हो रहा है।
बिल्कुल जी, बिल्कुल। और क्योंकि अगर हम कहें तो ये आखिरी फुल फ्लेज बजट है 2024 चुनाव से पहले। निर्मला सीतारमण ने कहा ये पहला बजट है अमृतकाल के दौर का भी, तो खास बजट तो जरूर था। अगर हम बात करें अब उत्तराखंड के नजरिए से, क्योंकि आप उत्तराखंड के वित्त मंत्री हैं, तो उत्तराखंड के लिए कितने सौगात हैं इस बजट में और उत्तराखंड वासी की क्या ओपिनियन है?
उत्तराखंड वासी भी एक भारत का अभिन्न हिस्सा है। उस नाते केंद्र जब आता है तो व्यक्ति एक उत्सुकता देखता है कि उसके बजट में उसके लिए क्या होने वाला है। तो 5 लाख 7 लाख रुपया मिल रही हो और जिस प्रकार से गैस है 5 का दिया गया है, तो उससे हमारे लिए क्षण है ही है। और जहां तक उत्तराखंड की बात करो तो होगा कि हमारे उम्मीद लेके आया है, अनेकों केंद्र जो है इस उनके बजट का प्रावधान है जिसका सीधा राज्य को मिलने वाला। उसके साथ जो केंद्रीय कर है उसमें राज्य का अंश बढ़ाया है 25%।
जी,
तो जहां तक 9,100 कुछ रुपया हम वार्षिक
जी। प्रेमचंद्र अग्रवाल जी, आपके साथ हमारा कनेक्शन ठीक नहीं है। हम आपको सुन पा रहे हैं मगर हम आपको देख नहीं पा रहे ठीक से। तो मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं आपको कि आप जुड़े हमारे संग। हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम आपके पास वापस लौटें कुछ समय में। मगर मैं कमल बाली का भी रुख करना चाहूँगा। आई वांट टू गेट इन कमल बाली एट दिस पॉइंट, प्रेसिडेंट एंड एमडी वॉल्वो ग्रुप इंडिया। Mr. Bali, appreciate you joining us on NewsX. Your overall assessment of budget 2023 as far as the auto sector is concerned, how happy are you And overall, how are you viewing this budget?
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on your show. Let me say that this budget is commendable for being extremely well thought out. It is growth oriented, very bold, inclusive, and responsible as well. I think it has very clearly laid out the 7 priorities and has actually ticked all the possible boxes which are very important for the socio-economic future of any country. So if I were to talk about some specifics, it has allocated a large amount, 10 lakh crore on infra creation, which is so important for the country. It builds the assets over a period of time, and it also generates a lot of employment, and it gives you sustained growth over a period of time. The second is on tourism, on connectivity. A lot of focus has been on the rail connectivity, on focus on the railways. Out of the 10 lakh crores, 2 lakh crores are going to be spent on the Indian railways, which is so important for the mobility and connectivity of this country, especially for the middle and the lower income group of people. Bringing in logistics efficiency, as well as focus on green and digital future. I think that's another very defining point. And when I say green and digital future, whether it is on governance or on energy transition or on manufacturing. So I think those were some of the highlights of this budget. I think what it has also done is it has brought in the entire value chain, not just few sectors of economy. So whether it is the youth, whether it is the support to MSMEs on credit growth, on credit guarantee scheme, on the agriculture sector, while being fiscally very prudent. So the good point is that it has given something to everyone while being fiscally prudent, which means that the fiscal deficit they have contained to 6.4 in the current year, and 5.9 is the glide path to next year, which is something very appreciable. So I'm sure the private sector will respond very pragmatically to this outstanding budget, and you will see a lot of private investments coming in the times to come. So to me, this decade will belong to India, I think, and this budget has set the pathway for the rest of this decade. So overall, and I think another good thing I wanted to talk about was it has not focused on the silos. It has joined the dots. So typically, if it is healthcare, so it has looked at hospitals, it has looked at nursing care, doctors, medical insurance, all of that. So that's something I would say the 360 degrees or the entire value chain around a particular aspect. So overall, outstanding budget, one of the finest budgets.
Mr. Bali, stay with us. I want to also get in Jaikar Singh at this point, who is also with us live. Jaikar Singh is Director, Symphony Resorts, ANN. Jaikar Singh, let me bring you in here on your, of course, overall assessment of the budget. But if we talk specifically about the tourism sector and the hospitality sector, then there have been several key announcements, haven't there? Jaikar Singh, how are you viewing them?
I'm good. Good afternoon. And first of all, very thankful for a very well-balanced budget, which is covering all aspects of our industry. And definitely tourism has been highlighted very well, with a lot of ports and airports coming, and especially in a remote place like Andamans, where I belong. We see a new terminal coming in, and a lot of international connectivity is expected in the coming year or two. So, which is great for us. And especially with the new income tax rebate, where people are making around 15 lakh rupees, where they would, with the income tax rebate, they would roughly have 40,000 annually in their hand. So that gives them a surplus, which will definitely be pumped in a lot to tourism and hospitality overall. So that is what I would like to say. Overall, the focus on hospitality industry as a whole has been concentrated really well, which will also facilitate investors and hoteliers to enter new destinations with new upcoming development in terms of ports and airports and new destinations, which is going to be very exciting for us.
Yes. Lakshmi Venkatesan, quickly coming to you at this point as well on, on the MSME sector, on, of course, also the startups sector. Do you believe entrepreneurs will be happy with this budget? There has been a lot of talk on Make in India and Skilling India. Would they be happy with this budget?
There are many aspects of it for which the youth of India and the startups, and when I mean startups, I don't necessarily mean the unicorns and so on. We are talking about the startups at the small town areas and the rural areas. Yes, there is something to be commended in this budget for that. For example, the 9,000 crore budget outlay for the credit guarantee scheme. What that does is, today you'll find that very often the banks are reluctant because they need better risk cover. So hopefully this kind of an extended outlay will be very good. But the challenge here, of course, is that in spite of all of this, the Mudra loan, the average loan size is about 27,000 rupees today. In order to create any enterprise which can build assets and grow and create employment for others, needs more investment. So hopefully this kind of an increased credit guarantee scheme by the finance minister announcement will ensure that the banks go on to increase the kind of loan size that they will give.
Yes. Yes.
The second,
please go ahead.
The second aspect of what is important here is, of course, the skilling part. There is a lot of money that has been laid out and increase in skilling. But here again, I think the unique aspect is 47 lakh people are supposed to be supported with apprenticeship, which essentially enables you to get an idea of how to work in the micro sector. I think that's a very, very welcome idea. What would be wonderful is that we have 63 lakh units in 6.3 crore units in this country. It will be wonderful if this kind of an apprenticeship program is extended so that many more crores of people can benefit from that. So there is a great beginning. We need to ensure that it reaches out to all the people who are deserving for this. Yes.
Let me also quickly draw in Jagdish Mitra at this point, Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Growth for Tech Mahindra. We also have Atul Puri, Managing Editor, SW India, joining us live. Sumit Peer, I can also see, is with us in our studio, political commentator. Let me quickly bring you in here, Mr. Mitra, on on the aspect for the tech sector, of course, and also overall. Mr. Mitra, your take on budget 2023. Obviously, it has been a pretty all-encompassing budget. Every sector really touched upon. It is also a very responsible budget. If we talk about the green growth which has been spoken about, the hydrogen, carbon credits, electric vehicles, cesses, etc. So on a sustainable point of view, and also from your sector's point of view, your assessment of budget 2023.
No, sure. First, thank you for the opportunity. I think this budget lays down some very key fundamentals, especially for the tech sector and what we think we have the potential to drive growth on. So the most important part is the focus on skilling. The Prime Minister called out Tech Aid as India's opportunity to make sure that technology drives the growth for the rest of the decade for the country and make it really what in Amrit Kal, or the opportunity for India to really lead in that process. And I think a couple of things that I would feel extremely encouraged about. One is the focus on AI with the centers of excellence being opened up. And AI today has such an important role to play. We know all the conversations that have been happening on chat, GPT, etc. But that importance is not just about one tool, it's about focusing on AI, and I think extremely glad that India is focusing on that and we are focusing on it. Second is the whole discussion around the labs of 5G. I think both of them have clear opportunity to drive growth, not just for the tech sector, but making sure all our businesses are getting advantage of these two technologies, both in terms of AI and 5G. So importance on skilling, importance on creating deep technology at the core. The other area that you talked about, green tech, agri-tech, has got tremendous potential. So, the commonality I see is being laid down in terms of seeds being sown, both on the farms as well as on technology, to be able to drive that kind of growth.
Kamal Pali, do you believe electric cars are the cars of the future? Is that why we are seeing the sustained push, by the government in the budget and outside of the budget as well?
No, absolutely. I mean, the idea is, clearly the paradigm in front of all of us is is energy transition to non-fossil fuels. So obviously, electric vehicles will be one of the major drivers of this journey, of this new paradigm. And of course, there will also be hydrogen as a fuel, hydrogen fuel cells. You will have other biofuels also. So all tools in the box will have to be used for this energy transition to a clean and green future. And EVs will drive a big time in this. And EVs will mostly be predominant in two-wheelers, three-wheelers, in intra-city transport, in passenger vehicles, and to some extent in commercial vehicles for the last mile and the mid-level connectivity. On the long haul cargo, probably we may have to move to hydrogen as a fuel, or hydrogen as fuel cells. And this government has actually started a big hydrogen mission, green hydrogen mission, in which some of us are also members of this. So obviously, steps in the right direction. EV and other non-fossil fuels are going to play a very major role in mobility and in energy transition.
Okay, let me quickly take that across to Mr. Puri as well, Atul Puri, on on taxation now, which is your domain area. A lot announced as far as taxes are concerned. Of course, mostly income tax is hogging the headlines, but other changes have also happened that you want to elaborate on. Go ahead.
So yeah, thanks. I think one very critical change which
and has this been in the offing for a while? For a couple of years at least.
Yeah. So basically, one critical change which I would like to lay emphasis is related to presumptive taxation. So this concept of presumptive taxation has been into existence for a long time. The reason why this was introduced was to avoid any kind of evasion, both for those who are into business as well as those who are into profession. So because there has been instances in the past where there was a lot of tax evasion happening due to forged expenses which were being recorded in the books of accounts. So that is why this particular provisions, section 44AD and 44ADA, was introduced by the CBDT. And what does this actually speak about is related to a fixed amount, fixed turnover, or a fixed professional fee on which you actually pay the taxes. Without getting into the nitty-gritties, without getting into the books of accounts to be maintained, and that's how basically it has been very successful. So if I talk about the first change, which is related to those which are into trading, so section 44ADA is one which has to be referred for it. Here the presumptive taxation is available to the traders, where the maximum limit for them as a top line turnover was 2 crores. In this budget, this has been increased to 3 crores. So this is going to be very beneficial for those who are into small businesses. That's point number one. Number two is related to 44ADA section, which is applicable to professionals. And professionals specifically, I talk about doctors, lawyers, engineers and chartered accountants. So earlier this was restricted, the gross receipt was restricted to 50 lakh rupees, where you don't have to maintain your books of accounts, you don't have to produce any bills or documents, but just whatever, you just declare whatever is your gross receipt up to a maximum of 50 lakh rupees and you pay taxes on it. This limit has been increased from 50 lakh rupees to 75 lakh rupees now. So this actually gives more leverage as far as the taxpayers are concerned, and it is going to be beneficial both for the traders as well as professionals to a very large extent.
Yes, let me also quickly join Sumit Peer at this point as well. Sumit, please do give us your overall assessment of the budget as well, but also as far as the political connotations of the budget are concerned as well, will those be fulfilled too? Given the fact that, as I said earlier, this is the last full-fledged budget of this government. I mean, next year will be very close to the general elections, won't it?
Unay, thank you very much for having me on your show. This is a complete 360-degree budget. It's not an election budget. It's not a budget it's not a populist budget. It's not a Revdi budget. There are no Revdis in it. But in fact, what we were discussing yesterday, one aspect has been very categorically capped, that whatever amount of loans you take from the central government have to be used for capex only. They cannot be used for opex. They cannot be used for subsidies. So a lot of people are not going to be happy looking at that, because they thought they will get 3 lakh crores and they will distribute as per their electoral promises. So that is not going to happen. Now, if you look at the Sri Anna, or the millets. We're the number one producer of them and the number second exporter
Yeah.
in the world. Now, India is the food basket of the world when it comes to wheat and rice. Now, with millets, will not be the food basket of the world, will dominate the world. That is also going to benefit our smaller farmers. Now, if you look at the nursing schools, now nursing schools is a great initiative because our 35% of our total tourism is medical tourism, which will when people come here. Now, if you look at the tourism, the $255 billion industry going at a CAGR of 11-12% in neck by 2036, it will be around a $500 billion industry. Now, that thrust on tourism being one of the core areas. And then when we move to the end of the budget, I mean, it had 82 points. I don't know how many can we cover in this broadcast, but 82 sectors have never ever been kind of addressed in any particular budget. Here we have seen 82 sectors being addressed and it's balanced, wherein you are maintaining the fiscal deficit and you are going to a better fiscal deficit next year. And your borrowings are not very high and you also have a plan where to get your borrowings from. And on the sugar topping on the end is that when you look at the taxation, overall the taxation, if you see across the slabs, you can see the overall the taxation in India is reduced on average by 5%. That too when the world is in recession, that too when everywhere the taxes are going up, inflation is going up, interest rates are going up. In this country, the taxes are being reduced. So it's only in India where this kind of a thing is possible, and it's a very ambitious budget. It is not done to keep masses happy. There is no freebies, there's no revenues being distributed to get votes. So it is a complete budget with the Karma Yoga in mind, and it is not about the elections. And the middle class, which has been asking for a lot of things, I think today they are happy, the salaried people are happy, they know what they are getting is good. And Uday, it has started a new trend. Usually the taxes would go up, but for the first time we are seeing the taxes go down for the all earning class and for the middle class. So they are happy, everybody is happy. There is a lot of trust which is built into the budget.
Yes.
A lot of compliances are gone, hundreds of rules have been taken away. That is the quantum of trust that builds the people connect, and that is what will be irking the opposition. They will be busy, very busy honge, sir. They are trying to find loopholes into that. Ab Modi ji ko kahan pakde, Nirmala ji ko kahan pakde, and I have not seen any reactions come yet, but today evening we'll have all the creative dilemma and dialogues coming up. So we'll have a lot to discuss with that.
Okay.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.